Okay, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to add some navigation elements to our template. Now we're going to use a method of doing that from the W3 Schools webpage. So if you come to w3schools.com and /css/css_navbar ASP, you'll see it can bring you to this page, which is the CSS navigation bar. So you could just do a Google search for W3 Schools navigation bar, and it will probably bring you to the same page. Now you can see on this page there's a whole lot of demonstration navigation bars. So we've got some vertical bars here and some horizontal bars. Now I like this horizontal bar, and so what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to scroll down in the page. You'll see that it explains how to actually use the navigation bar and how to customize it. But the way it's built is it's actually built on an unordered list and then some styling to style that unordered list. So I'm going to simply copy that unordered list, and then I'm going to go back to my template, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that unordered list in the place where I want my navigation bar to appear. So I want my navigation bar to appear inside of this container, and let's put it after the heading. So we're going to have the heading first, and then below that we're going to have the navigation bar. So here's my container, and then just below that you can see there's my H1. Now remember, empty spaces in HTML, all these blank lines, don't actually do anything. So that's the location where I want my navigation bar. I'm going to add some extra space just to assist in seeing this. And then I'm simply pasting in the unordered list. And then I'm going to also use some indenting just by pressing the tab key to make this easier to read. So you can see I've got my unordered list set up there, and then I've got a number of list items that are pointing to different locations. If I click back on my preview, you'll see that it puts the unordered list in, but it hasn't been styled yet, and so it's just appearing as an unordered list. Now we need to make some changes to this for our page. The first change I'm going to make is in the unordered list tag, and we're going to add a class, because when we style this, if we style it and we apply the styles to all of our unordered lists, then that means that all of our unordered lists will look like navigation bars. But I just want this navigation bar to look like a navigation bar, so I'm going to add a class to this unordered list, and I'm going to call it nav for navigation. Then we need to make some changes here, because at the moment there's a home page and it points to default.asp. Now when we set up our plan and we set up our sitemap, we would have decided, or you would have decided, the names for the files that you're going to use in your site. I decided that my home page was not going to be called default.asp, it was going to be called index.html. I also am not planning on having a news page, and so I'm going to change that to my store page, my merchandise page, and it's not going to be called news.asp, that page, it's going to be called store.html. I am going to have a contact page, but it's not going to be an ASP page, it's going to be a HTML file, so I'm going to change my contact page to contact.html, and then that last page, which is about, I'm actually going to have a people page to explain some of the people who are in my organisation. So I'm going to call it people, and it's not going to be called about ASP, it's going to be called people.html. And so then I've set up my navigation, and I've got the links pointing. So the home link is going to point to index.html, the store link is going to point to store.html, the contact to contact.html, and the people to people.html. Now because I'm working on my template, none of those pages exist at the moment. But if I preview this, so let's come up here, you can click on template. Actually we've got to save everything first, so let's go to file and choose save all. So that's going to save all of our code. Then if we click on our template at the top here, that little tab, and just press F5, you'll see that it updates the preview to the changes that I've made. Now, we can also preview that in a browser, so we come over here to the template file, don't select to rename, but right click on it and say open in a browser, and then choose the browser you would like to see that in. There's Google Chrome, and you can see it's opened up my template with those navigation links. Now we have to add the styles for our navigation bar. So we go back to W3 Schools, and you'll remember that I said there's a number of different types of navigation bars. So there's vertical or horizontal. I like the horizontal one, so I'm going to simply now scroll down in the list here. There's a vertical navigation bar example and the HTML that you're going to need to use. There's some more vertical navigation bar examples right here. You can see how it's making an active link. Keep going down, and we go all the way down until we find our horizontal navigation bar examples. And it's going to explain to you how to go about actually styling that. Now I'm just going to scroll down to the example right here, horizontal navigation bar examples, and I like that example. So I'm going to use this example as my navigation bar. And so here is my example CSS to go along with it. So I'm simply going to copy all of that CSS, just like that. I'm going to come back to Dreamweaver, and I don't want to paste this in as my HTML. I'm going to paste this into my styles. So I come here to my source code button, and I say I want to edit the styles.css file. Click there, and you'll see here's my styles page. I come down to the blank line at the end of that, and I'm then going to paste all of that in. Now you'll remember that if we say that this selector, the unordered list, is going to be of this style, then that's going to affect all of my unordered lists. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to edit that style, that selector, to just say the navigation unordered lists. And so I find the UL, and then I simply add .nav, and so that's only going to now apply to unordered lists that have the class nav. Now if I click on that and update, you'll see there is my new menu, and so now my unordered lists with navigation are going to be styled in this format. Now we're also going to have to apply that same nav class to our list item, because otherwise all of our list items in our other unordered lists are also going to float to the left, and our anchors, our links, are all going to get this style. So to fix that, what you do is you simply copy the unordered list nav, and you find the list item selector, you paste that at the start, put a space, and that means now only list items that are inside our unordered list navigation are going to get that style. And we do the same there. Unordered list items A, and the same on line 33, unordered list item hopper. And so this is now going to set up styles. There's our unordered list style. You can adjust the colors just by editing the colors here. Our unordered list items, so each list item is right there floating to the left. Our anchors are displayed as a block, and you'll see the color of them is white. The text align is at the center of each block, and the padding has 14 pixels and 16 pixels around the outside of it. So that's going to be our top, left, right, bottom padding. And at the moment there's no text decoration, and so that's got rid of the bullet from the start of our unordered list. And so now we've got it on our styles, our unordered list styles, and in our HTML we've got our unordered list, which is going to actually have the links and the words that we use in our navigation. Last thing to do is to go to File, make sure you save all, and then you can preview this in a browser simply by right-clicking, go to Open in Browser, choose the browser you want to check it, and there's your unordered list navigation. All right, give that a go. So you now should be able to create a container with your content in it, and then have a navigation section in that container as well.